Hey, honeys and hunks, and it's Tuesday, and you know what that means. We got a new episode of Hardcourt Honeys coming in, and as always, today we have our basketball tech genius in Jade Auxiliary Things Johnson.
Hey.
Has it been an exciting week for you at all, Wise, or has it been a little bit of a downer?
It's been a down week for me. The Raptors lost games I thought they would win. Yeah, it's just been kind of like a low basketball week for me.
A low basketball week.
6, yeah.
Yeah,
Week
that's.
5.
I keep on forgetting I have NBA League Pass. I
How?
Don't forget that.
I know. I'm really disappointed with myself.
I'm disappointed with you.
Right? I'm like,
I'm at my cabin right now with my future roomie, and I just totally spaced on. I was just like, yeah, so we're gonna be watching basketball because I totally forgot I had NBA League Pass. But on that note, and then over here on the other screen we have Shay at Shay Watches NBA Vassar. How was your basketball intake this week for you?
pretty good. I forgot what I watched, but I watched like several games. So
See, that's just you're watching for the love of the game at that point.
right, like I'm like
It's
I
the
don't
love
even.
of the game at that point.
Yeah, I don't even remember, but like I did watch. So
That was because you're watching games that you're just like, I have no stake in this. I'll still
Right.
watch it.
You still watch.
and it's
I'm
weird
still gonna
because
watch.
I live in Brooklyn, but getting Brooklyn games that aren't nationally broadcast is really difficult. So I don't watch a lot of Brooklyn games. I like watch
Really? Because like I get all of Brooklyn's games televised here. Yeah, like so many Nets games.
I wish because I
That's
want
so
to
weird.
But yeah, like I don't get a lot of them. So that's what it is, I guess.
I was enjoying the option of choosing 5 different games last night that I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna watch the Pistons play Portland.
Yeah, how was that?
Yeah.
That was definitely just like, huh. So this is
Basketball.
what people saw in the Wolves for the past 20 years. Okay. Yep.
All coming together.
Exactly. Okay. So before we get into it, don't forget to follow us on all of our social media spots at HC Honeys on Twitter, we on Hardcourt Honeys on Instagram and Facebook, and then also we are now putting it all onto your favorite podcast stuff. So diving into today, this week we're going to be talking on the Western Conference. When are the Grizzlies? Are they too far gone? They're 3-13 right now. Where are they going to be going? And the other LA team, Clippers. This is a super team, just started, and it's already rough.
Yeah.
And then the Warriors, last topic on the West, they just need to shut up. How can they finally back up all their talk? And the East Coast, we're back-to-back weeks with Orlando. So I think there's going to be something real coming out of them. Wizards, we got to go the opposite side of the spectrum on that conference being, what are they doing? Where's Jordan Poole going to end up going? Because I don't see him there much longer. And then last night, another scary injury to one of the Ball brothers, LaMelo, has another ankle injury. Is that something? Would that be something to worry about if you are the Charlotte Hornets? So it's the same ankle as usual, but okay. Western Conference, 16 games in. Grizz, they're not seeing any light.
No.
Will Ja returning help do a complete 180 to salvage the season, Shay?
I mean, I hope. I mean, best case scenario, but I don't know. It's hard to put that much on like Ja Morant isn't like some experienced player that's going to come back and just transform it. I mean, he's a young player. He needs that structure. And I just hope that there is that structure in place so that they can guide him in a way on the court. Like I'm specifically talking about on the court, not off the court. Whatever, it is what it is. But on the court, I just don't know if they quite have the structure because we're seeing a lack of that structure currently. I think best case scenario, Marcus Smart comes into this like possible mentorship role, because if you think about it, like Marcus Smart is aggressive but also like experienced. He's been in the league a while. So I don't know. I'm sad to say I just don't feel like the Grizzlies are relevant right now, and it might turn around. Don't get me wrong, but it's what it is.
So speaking of Memphis, or not Memphis, Marcus, he actually had his own comments yesterday about it. And what was, because the Timberwolves, we destroyed them the other night.
Yeah.
We destroyed them. And you can see on the bench, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing because they've been getting wiped off the court with their play lately with it. And you think, okay, you bring in, like you said, Marcus Smart, you get rid of the antics of Dylan Brooks, at least a little bit of a change.
A little bit.
You think so?
See, and I think losing Dylan Brooks is their problem right now.
Really?
They won most of their games without Ja. Last time he was suspended. What's the different piece? It's Dylan Brooks.
True.
There is they are now, because of let me get the numbers with it. They are bottom in the league for rebounding because no Steven Adams.
Steven Adams injured for the season.
Ja Morant is one of the top rebounding guards in the league.
So that's one of the things about we forget. It's not just Ja that they're missing.
No, yes. They are 29th in points per game, 27th in assists, last in field goals, and in three-point percentage. And Jerry Jackson Jr., he 47 of his total shots have been three-pointers. So that's I don't like seeing that from him. And also, he's shooting 46 from the field now instead of last year that was 48. So is this more big problem since this is affecting the entire team and they're missing their leader, or is this just something boiling up? Jade?
I think it's them missing their leader. Like, you cannot underestimate a player like Ja Morant. We're thinking a lot about his social media stuff, but like he's a born basketball star. He didn't have to step into being a star. Ja Morant has all of the factors of a basketball star. And when you take that away from a team that realistically was just starting, over the last couple seasons to find their footing, right? If he had been available for the beginning of this season, I think their momentum just keeps going, even with the change of Marcus Smart and Dylan Brooks. But like, you miss Dylan Brooks. You can't say that you don't. Right? Because the Grizzlies did win most of their games when Ja was suspended last season. And that is the only different factor besides Steven Adams. I don't think Steven Adams is a big enough factor. I think they would have won a few more games if he had been available, but they would have still been, maybe 6 wins instead of 3 kind of thing. It's going to be a matter of how does the team feel about the losing when Ja comes back? Is it going to be resentment that we had this terrible start to the season and it's all because you couldn't keep yourself off social media? I mean, his friend took the video and it was live, so I don't know how much you expect a person to be able to like control that. But yeah, the whole thing pisses me off because it's a ridiculous over punishment of a young Black athlete in a country where this means literally nothing when it comes to gun laws. It means nothing.
I'm curious, is Taylor Jenkins, as a fellow Taylor, is there anything for him to blame too, though, since this is happening? He knows the team better than anybody. So should he be also partially to blame with this then, Shay?
Like for the current team?
The situation that's going on this season.
I mean, I don't know. It's like, I think Jade brought up a really important point. I'm not saying that like Ja Morant should be waving around guns on social media, but like I am a little confused why the suspension is as long as it is. It feels maybe like a little bit of overkill for something that like is legal. It's like, don't get me wrong, we obviously have a major gun issue in this country. I don't like, not to bring up like the Second Amendment or anything, but like, but it's like, so part of it is like, there has to be a mental block in everyone's mind about this, where it's like, okay, like we're still in this weird spot without our young superstar, or like our young person that we're trying to build a team around. We're trying to guess what the team will look like when he comes back. And that must be hard for everyone. They're kind of like trying to put a puzzle together, but there's obviously the missing piece, and they're trying to figure out like how to deal with that. So I think that they're like, I don't know if it boils down to just one person, because it's like it's a very specific and weird situation that I don't think other teams have gone through quite to this extent.
Right. And to put the length of the punishment into perspective, like a couple of weeks before the season started, a player pled guilty to a DUI and got a 5-game suspension.
Right.
So literally, you drank too much. You made the decision to get behind the wheel of a vehicle. You drove away. You got caught and charged. These are all things that actually happen. You actually put other people's lives in danger. And you got 5 games and John Morant got 25.
The 25 is that's huge.
Like it doesn't make sense. It's totally nonsensical that is the length of the punishment for literally not doing anything illegal, not hurting anyone, not potentially hurting anyone.
Right. Like, does it normalize guns? Probably to a certain extent.
Does it though?
Does it?
Okay, like you need John Morant to help the United States of America normalize guns.
Like, that's true. It's like the guns are already normalized.
Guns are normal as fuck.
They're already here.
I think the reason why they did that 25-game suspension is because he in my opinion, made the league look like a fool. Like, you did it before already. We gave you a couple games, and then we were trying to ignore it. And then you did it again. Well, okay, no, you made us look dumb. So I think this could also be an image thing on the league of, oh, you're not taking us seriously. I don't like the 25 games. I don't like it.
You know what would have made it acceptable for me is if the NBA was out there doing something real about guns.
Right.
Like they did with the Black Lives Matter stuff. They did something real about it. They're not doing anything about this except for smacking John Morant. So like, don't tell me it's about the country and the gun problem if that's all you're doing.
What would you guys have given a penalty for Jux? He's already on thin ice. Like, for me, maybe an 8-game suspension and a hefty fine.
Yeah.
Because 25 games, that's a quarter of the season.
And a requirement for some kind of therapy to figure out why he's being so self-destructive.
Right. Like an actual mental, like
something real, something that's not right. That's not just like, oh, we're doing something. Look at this. Look what we're doing. Do something real if you mean it. Otherwise, I don't give a crap.
Yeah, like
give a suitable fine where it's like, oh no, that's a chunk out of their paycheck. Like, I want that.
Well, I mean, he's missing all the money from the games he's not playing. That's a chunk out of his paycheck.
True.
25 games.
But like, say if it wasn't, take the 8 games. Say if we were just doing the 8 games, and then do a fine where it's like, oh, yeah, no. This is gonna hurt you. It's gonna hurt you. It's like when the fast break question last week with Draymond, where he's had $750,000 worth of just suspensions and technicals.
Right.
And ejections. So that's just from on the court stuff. But okay, well, another team that's failing right now. One that I think we kind of like to chuckle at, it's failing. The Clippers. It's fantastic. I mean, no, it's sad.
It's sad for Russ. That's the reason I made that face. I'm not happy about that.
Sad songs and sad movies and sad TV shows are still entertaining.
Very true. Very true. We watch them.
I feel bad for Russ. Russ is doing all of this stuff, like accepting a new role.
Russ
and everything
is always
like
doing everything he needs to be doing.
And no one else ever is.
And no one
else. He's the biggest professional on that entire team.
He's been the biggest professional on the last 3 teams he's been on.
Yeah.
3?
Yeah. Lakers and then Wizards.
And Rockets. Gross.
True.
Bad
So that
period.
makes 4 teams. That makes 4 teams. The last 4. Like, poor Russ.
2 of them include James Harden.
Exactly.
Oi.
Common denominator.
Oi.
So, is this a super team that's going to be blown up soon, Jade?
I don't see how you cannot.
Right.
I don't see how you cannot. I feel like we talked about the Did we talk about the Clippers last week too? They're another team that needs to just commit to rebuilding. Yeah, we did, because I talked about they're moving out of LA when their new arena is done.
Oh, because it was just he just got traded. Yeah.
Right. So like, yeah, the Clippers need to change course. Seafaring pun intended, because they're the Clippers. They need to change what they're doing. Like, they've been trying to buy a super team championship for 10 years now. 10 seasons, like ever since Blake left.
They have had over the past 15 years, they've had some of the best roster put togethers in the league. Lob City.
And this is when I love talking to basketball fans who look at a roster and be like, they're gonna win. I'm like, no, it doesn't just take a talented roster to win in any sport, but it's even harder in basketball. Basketball has so many intangibles. There are so many, anything could happen at any given time with 10 guys on the floor and the ball moving and like all of these things. The way the players come together matters. It's not just about the points, the rebounds, the stats. And like, if you ever had any doubt about that, just look at the Clippers roster for the last 8 to 10 years.
And look at games played together.
Games played together, wins. 4. Right. It's only 4.
And they've only played a half of a quarter in the playoffs.
Right. And not only, and look at who they're building around. Kawhi gets injured every season. Paul George gets injured every season. James Harden is James Harden. He does not bring winning to a team. We've seen that for his whole career. He's talented. He's a gifted scorer. He's a good post-up defender. He has skills, but he does not foster a winning culture because he's lazy, he's self-centered, and he cares more about the party than the game.
Well, and it feels weird too, because none of this super team is exactly young. Like, when I look at other teams that are building, like, OKC, SGA, a great young player to build around. Who are the Clippers building
Orlando's building around young talent.
Yes.
The Pistons have lots of young
We're talking about them in a bit.
Sorry.
The Magic Wonderland will be brought up.
But to Shay's point, compared to what other teams are doing, they're on the opposite end of the spectrum.
Yeah. Like,
in terms of the kind of talent they're trying to bring in.
They're a better version of the Wizards in the fact of Wizards have no direction. But
do the Clippers have a direction, though?
Who?
Do the Clippers have a direction?
Well, when you still have Kawhi, Paul George still on the team, regardless if they're there, game plan is still title. Wizards, theirs is we're just trying to get back to being an NBA qualified team.
That's true.
So, but no.
Man, speaking of that, my dream scenario would be for NBA basketball to be like Premier League football and have relegation to the G League. That would make my life.
Which, funny enough, Anthony and I are starting to follow the Premier League a little bit.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how many leagues they have.
They have so many soccer leagues.
I'm so overwhelmed, but I'm still trying to decide which Premier League team I'm going to follow. But yeah, like the regulations they make sense.
Relegations. It's funny because I was talking to somebody about this guy I dated back like 10 years ago now. Went on one date with him. But he was a professional soccer player in England. And whoever I was telling was asking, like, was he well known? I'm like, no, playing professional soccer over there is like playing professional hockey in Canada. Everybody can play professional hockey in the lower leagues. That's just that. But like, I want to see the NBA be like that. I want to see the NBA be a league where the G League is considered a professional basketball league where you get great talent from places other than the draft. And if your team sucks, you get relegated. Like that would be amazing. It would be so good for the game.
Well, considering also how, as we have been discussing over the months and years and stuff, it's when you're getting drafted, you don't need to get drafted anymore. Do you
No.
play in the G
Right.
League? Great. So you're still going to see talented G League players. Do you play overseas? Yeah, you're still really
Yep.
talented. You can safely enough, even if that G League team or whatever wins and goes up, that team's still going to be a solid NBA team.
Right.
So that is Clippers, though. They're a super team that's not even a successful team. Which super team's worse? This one or Brooklyn?
Ah!
I
gotta say Brooklyn.
Brooklyn?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the Clippers just because they've been failing at the same thing for so long.
True.
Like at least Brooklyn tried it and moved on quickly.
True. True.
They tasted it and they were like, I think this might
Not
be
so
bad milk.
good.
I
Not
gotta
so
go. We gotta go.
good.
I'm not taking it. Could be bad. It might be good,
And-
but I'm
and-
not risking it.
I know we're gonna talk about it when we talk to Shay and home teams, but like, look at where the Nets are now.
I love where we're at now. I love being this kind of team.
I mean, they're way more fun to watch than they were when those guys were there.
Yeah.
Way more fun to watch.
You know what team's kind of rough to watch? The Warriors.
The Warriors.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
just I feel bad for Steph right now because he's just trying to play the game and everything else around him is a complete circus. Klay Thompson is really weighing on his ego's getting up there right now. And Steve Kerr, I don't know how much he has of a hold on to the team. So is this a team where it's just shut up and just realize that your dynasty is coming to an end? Like your dynasty is going as long as Steph Curry goes. And Steph is like 34.
Yeah, but he's still putting up 40-point games.
Yeah, but
He'll be able to
34-year-old do that.
He'll be able to do it forever because he's a shooter.
Can he control an I'm just
Listen, I want to go back to your point about Klay first. Like, I'm not mad at Klay. I understand where Klay's coming from. Because when you've already been fully disrespected for your whole career, like Klay has never fully got the respect that he deserves.
That's true.
Never. Every time I think about that top 75 list, I'm pissed off that Klay's not on it, but Dame and Anthony Davis are.
Anthony Davis should be off that.
In another 15 years, you're going to look back at that and you're going to go, yeah, we messed up. Like that was a mess up on that list. So when you're already that guy and now you're struggling to start your season, you're getting older, your team is in a different place. Like I understand his instinct to just like want to defend himself all the time. Because when you already didn't get the props and now you're just piling on. So people are being like, oh, see, we told you he was washed. We told you he was done. But like you started saying that before it was even applicable to his game.
Yeah.
So like I understand why he would react the way that he does. I think 10 years is a long time as a head coach, is what I said about Nick Nurse. I think that same thing is coming into play with the Warriors. I think it might just be time to shake things up a little bit. But like I am not a person that's like I'm not ready to give up on Klay. It's still only week 6 of the season.
I'm not saying give up on him. Should I say dial back the arrogance, because he's not having a great year. He is not. And he keeps blowing it off. Like I said, he keeps on doing this.
Yeah, but he's done that.
He has done
like
that.
I
He's not doing it now. How are you going to win when you're not doing it now?
I'm just saying I understand why he would focus on that, because people talk about Klay like he's a scrub. Totally NBA.
Well, he's had such a high standard. To
sure,
Klay
but
Thompson
like
standard, it's a scrub.
But like, no, it's called getting older. Like
well,
it happens to everyone.
Instead of still saying 4 over 3?
Because he's done that already.
Well, then why?
Because he's done it. He deserves.
Then, so why does he have to defend himself more?
He deserves, because NBA fans suck.
Well, then,
that's why.
I mean,
Shay, how about you?
I mean, I've never been the biggest on, in general, the Warriors. And specifically, I know I've said it, I'm going to say it again, because Steph Curry chews on his mouth guard, and it really bothers me. Like, it irks me. Like, I want to throw things at the wall when he does it. And I know that, like, that's such a petty pet peeve, but there's something about it from the beginning that just, like, it was like a confirmation bias. Like, every time he would do something annoying, it was just like, well, he chews on his mouth guard. And that sounds like the pettiest thing ever, but I own it. Anyway, so that's how I feel about the Warriors. I don't know.
And you guys know how much of a Warriors fan I am.
No, I know.
You guys know I've been following the team since 05. So I'm just Clay's been bugging me of late. That's the other thing. He's not doing well, and he's still acting like he's an all-star. He was. Show me still.
But they all do that. Like, why do we come down harder on Clay than we come down on everybody else? I'm talking about everybody else.
They just shut up.
I think that when you are a competitor in the way that NBA fans or NBA players are competitors, shutting up is not an option. Shutting up is not an option. You have to, if you're not playing well, you have to have something to hold on to.
Yeah.
Until you get it back. You can't just throw your hands up in the air.
So just endless talking.
If it's what you have, it's what you have. We don't piss on anybody else for doing it. LeBron never shuts the F up. Neither does James Harden. Neither does Embiid. So has Clay up until 6 weeks into this season.
Yeah, and now he's doing it, and he's doing it at the wrong time. Do it when you're dropping 24 and shooting.
When you're dropping 24, it speaks for itself. You don't have to. You don't have to hang on to anything when you're dropping 24.
Don't do it when you're shooting career lows.
We'll have
do you not see where I'm coming from with it?
No, I don't. I see what
your career.
I see what you're coming from. I just
trying
disagree.
To show top dog.
I see where you're coming from. I just disagree with you.
Whatever. Let's hit up home teams. Let's hit up home.
Whenever y'all get like this, I just tune out. I'm like, y'all let me know when you're finished.
Listen, I'm in like the worst mood in life this week, so I'm not sorry. I'm venting.
I never said you had to be sorry. I just want to know what home teams are like this week. I got a home game tonight.
All right, we all have games tonight. So let's start with last week. We're going to start with Shay. Shay has had her first losing week of the season.
I know.
I mean, it was bound to happen eventually. You're still kicking our butts. 8-12 you're sitting at for the week. So you expected to beat the Hawks. You lost to the Hawks in overtime. Did you watch that game?
I did watch some of that game. Yeah.
Okay, because that was so. First of all, before that game, for people that maybe don't follow, DraftKings had that spread or the total points in the game higher than any game ever before, and the Hawks and the Nets showed up on that, like that 147, 145. I want to say that's
so high.
Or was in overtime. Craziness. You lost to the Heat, who you thought you would beat. Or sorry, you thought you would lose to the Heat, but they beat the Heat. Yeah. And then let's talk about this Bulls win. The Bulls started this game on a 30-9 run.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And then the Nets ended up to come back and win by 9 points, which was, I was watching a different game and I heard them updating the stats and I'm like, you blew a 30-9 lead in the first quarter.
Well, and I guess it was a franchise low, like historic loss for the Bulls. Like it was that bad.
Wow.
So
weird. So that's where we're at for the Nets. We'll do the Raptors next. I had a terrible week. I went 1 of 4 games. We beat the Bulls. But I will take some of these because we did lose to the Magic. Again, we're going to talk about later. Man, the Magic are playing really good basketball. The Pacers also, I got this wrong because I thought the Pacers would beat us. So I'm really excited to have gotten this one wrong. Just because the Raptors have struggled with scoring and the Pacers are playing the best offense in the NBA. So the fact that we were able to actually hang with them and not only hang, but like win that game by 2 points was fabulous, because scoring every game still, it's like, are we going to score tonight? Are we going to hit shots? Are we going to miss everything? How's this going to go? So that was awesome. Beat the Bulls. And I thought we'd beat the Cavaliers. We did not beat the Cavaliers. So my record on the season is 350. I'm 7 right, 13 wrong so far this season. And we'll go on to Taylor. So Sixers, Kings, Grizzlies. The Sixers was a hard one because Joel Embiid not playing didn't happen until like that afternoon. And that changes everything when Joel Embiid is not playing. So you guys got that win. You thought you beat the Kings beat you guys. And then you roasted the Grizzlies. So that puts you at 7 wins, 12 losses, 368 for the season so far.
That Grizzlies win was for the Kings loss because we should have had that game.
So what happened in the Kings game?
Should have had that game. Like Kings has been ever since Garnett, Chris Webber. Kings have always been the team that like we may be bad,
but you beat the Kings. Still. Yeah, but the Kings aren't those Kings anymore.
Exactly. But last year we still had. That's why in the playoffs I was really pushing for that 3rd seed because we would have been against the Kings, and we were undefeated that year against the Kings. Sabonis hated us. He had his worst playing against us.
I can see that, but like I don't know, De'Aaron Fox is a player that steps up in the big moments. So
oh yeah, well also we had a guy punch his hand into a wall and break it, so that was our best offender.
Right, I forgot about that. Yeah, that would have changed things a little bit. Just a
little known fact: you don't punch walls.
I mean,
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I play one on TV though. But.
All right, so Nets win totals. Nets have 8 of 42 wins of Shay's predicted wins for the season. So you're encroaching on 20%. Not too bad in week 6. I think you're on track. Taylor definitely on track with the Timberwolves. 12 of 46 wins. It's starting to look like 46 wins is not going to be hard for the Timberwolves this season. Like if they keep going the way they're going, you're going to blow by 46, no problem. Listen, I'm not a Timberwolves fan. The jinx doesn't count, okay? I
mean, you got Vince McMahon gift right now. We're just like.
And my Raptors also 8 wins of 43, so 18%. So let's look at the week coming up. So tonight, in a few short hours, we have in-season tournament against the Nets, Shay's Nets this week. The Raptors are already out of the tournament, so whatevs. We just need that W. And we are playing in Brooklyn tonight. I'm going to go ahead and say we're going to win that one just because we're really close in the standings. I think it's going to be a really close game. It's going to be a fun matchup. The Suns, we're going to lose. The Knicks, I'm going to say we're going to win against the Knicks. I'm not confident about that, but it's the Knicks. I don't trust the Knicks yet. I don't trust the Knicks yet. So I got to go for my home team when I'm not sure about the other team.
If Julius Randle holds the ball too much, you guys got the win.
Yeah, somebody really in one of my fantasy leagues tried to trade me Scotty Barnes for Julius Randle this morning, and I was like, no. You think I'm going to give up Scotty Barnes for Julius Randle? You must be crazy.
Timberwolves fans were trying to get Julius Randle for Cat, and I was like,
ew.
Tom Thibodeau wouldn't want that. He's getting Cat again. He hated Cat.
Speaking of the Timberwolves, you are tonight Thunder also in tournament action. What do you think on that?
I don't think we got this one.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
We're missing McDaniels. He's got a gnarly little sprain right now.
The Thunder are one of the teams that I'm watching as like paying extra attention to in terms of my auxiliary teams this year. And man, they're fun to watch play. And there's like, man, OKC is going to be a massive problem in a season to 2 seasons. Like they're going to just run through the West if these players keep going the way they are. You've got the Jazz at home.
Next 2 wins.
Wins. That's pretty safe bet, I would say, on those.
You know, no matter what year it is, I still think I would say we have the next 2 wins.
I mean,
no matter what season it would be for the Timberwolves being like Jazz and Hornets, for sure Hornets.
Yeah, you would have to go all the way back to the 90s to maybe lose to the Jazz.
Well, the late 2000s, we had Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer, Andre 3000. Ooh, that guy.
Andre 3000?
Andre
Playing
3000.
stupid flutes.
My sister loves that album, by the way. She plays it all the time.
Of course she does.
It's placed, that new album is placed under the hip hop charts on Billboard. And I was like,
Really?
That's
Yeah.
so silly.
it's world music.
It's definitely world music.
Yeah.
It's not-
And that's
it's
what it
not-
should be. It should be under hip hop.
It's not hip hop. Yikes. All
Tell
right.
me you're
And
going up for album of the year with Killer Mike and him, please.
finally, Nets. You got home to my Raptors tonight. Home all week for the Nets, Hornets, and Magic the rest of the week.
Okay. I'm going to say win-win loss. I think-
Alright.
Yeah. Sorry, Jade. I feel like when we play each other, like, I have to pick my team.
You have to. I never pick the Nets when we play against each other.
Right.
either.
Like,
It's
why would I do that?
Why
Like,
would you do that? The Timberwolves this year are a different thing. Timberwolves
know.
are going to roast both of us. But for us together, we're right beside each other in the standings as well, Nets and Raptors. Like, there isn't enough differentiation between us for either of us to be willing to go against
No.
our team. So
No.
I get it. I get it.
My
So
dad
that-
actually got us tickets for when we're all in Oklahoma to go see the Timberwolves at OKC. I think that's going to be a killer game.
That's going to be amazing. I'm so jealous.
Yeah, I'm
I
really
wonder
excited.
how much Clippers are kind of kicking themselves in the butt because they're dealing with this issue, and then they look over at SGA and they're like,
Right?
Yep.
"Damn
Oh
it."
my God, what a
Yep.
good point.
We have
All
a
right.
guy. We have two guys that can't stay healthy, a guy that eats way too much, and a former superstar that's trying his hardest to keep the team together.
Yep. That's what you got to work with. So on that note, we're going to send it back over to Taylor.
With the Western conferences now, we are hitting up that Eastern Conference. So, as we've already been alluding the entire episode, pretty much, the Orlando Magic, the land of Kingdom Magic, they're playing amazing team ball. Are we looking at a legit Orlando squad right now going into the rest of the season, Jade?
I think we are. Like, Orlando seems to be, for whatever reason, as a Raptors fan, Orlando always feels like a team you play 15 times in a season instead of just the 3 that it actually is. And I've watched them play a couple times already this season. And I started saying this towards the end of last season, that Orlando was starting to look like a real basketball team. And it looks like they've just picked up right where they left off last season. Banchero is still doing his thing. Try and remember which Wagner is on that team. Franz Wagner.
Both Wagners are on it.
Are they both on that team? Okay.
They're both on it. Both Wagners are.
Both of them are playing well after winning Worlds with Germany this season. Franz maybe a little bit especially though. Yeah, I think this is going to be, as long as things continue to go on the trajectory where they're continuing from last season, the Magic are like, they look like the real deal. They play like they know what they're doing. They look like they're in command of themselves when they're out there. It's not, I don't think this is fluky at all.
See, once again, the Wagner brothers and Paulo, like I've been saying, if you played in the World Tournament this summer, no matter what team you were on, almost all of the players
Are playing really well.
come out on all 4 cylinders.
Yeah.
Kicking all of them. Magic, they are the number 1 in the entire league as of 6 hours ago. They are they beat the Raptors, Nuggets, Celtics, Hornets this week. Now they have the best winning streak with 7 games straight. Yeah, they're one of the best offensive teams. And then they have Jalen Suggs. He's coming off the bench, 12.5. But he's also like one of those heart and soul kind of guys coming off the bench. So
He roasted us the other week.
Just none of the names that people think of.
Yeah.
So do you see, Shay, this team going to be at this number 1 level for the rest of it? Or are we going to maybe see a dip where, okay, maybe they hop down, like say conference-wise, they hop down to like the 4th position? Do you see anything like that eventually? Because they are a young team.
Yeah, I could see a dip. But I think they're going to be relevant, and definitely I don't see them not making the playoffs, which is kind of crazy to think about just because I didn't think Orlando would be relevant at all. But I think the hard part about having a younger team is you don't know what injuries are going to look like. There's still inconsistency that you just can't plan for. And I could see that possibly, or they might get tired. I think that's a possibility. But overall, like I don't want to discount them because I think they're going to be relevant the rest of the year.
Oh, excuse me. That hurt. But okay, well, I've been actually checking out some of the Orlando games and great team ball from the few games I've watched. Good team ball. So I think that's another reason where everything's coming together. Surprising on what you do, letting a team grow with each other for a few years.
Right?
Look what happens.
Right? Instead of moving your key players every other season or every season, imagine.
What do you know? You can win by just being patient.
What?
What a concept.
Sometimes, who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? Speaking, though, of teams that maybe want to figure out more things, maybe they have magic, but I don't know if it's good magic. The Wizards, they don't got good magic right now. Should they somehow try to unload Jordan Poole because there just keeps on coming out more and more stuff where it's like, yeah, maybe Draymond punching you had it coming. So is that one of the things on the Wizards' to-do list is somehow get rid of Jordan Poole, Jade?
So I think the Wizards' actual problem is that no one's bothered to make a to-do list. And they keep just kind of doing whatever seems to be the thing to do every season over and over again.
Yeah.
I think the Wizards' problem is they need to pick a direction. Pick a player and say, listen, we're going to build around this player. You got to give it a couple of seasons. And then if it doesn't work, you pick someone else. But the Wizards just are so aimless. Like, oh, that's shiny. Let's try that. Oh, there's another shiny thing. Let's try that. Like, they don't have any direction as a team. So, like, how do you decide who to keep and who to get rid of when you don't even know what you want to do?
Right.
As a roster, as an organization.
See, thing is, though, they see something shiny and then they get up to it. It's like, oh, no, these are like the shiny Mardi Gras beads. This isn't real shine.
Fool's
Not the real thing.
Jordan Poole's not real shine. He's not real shine. Because when he was like, they kind of was thinking about him being a cornerstone piece because he was like, I'm doing pretty well in Warriors. And then they figure out, oh, no wonder they let someone that could do what you do last year walk so easily.
Yeah. And like, I'm looking at their roster right now. Like, they have a talented roster. Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, Denny Avdija, Tyus Jones, Bilal Coulibaly, Daniel Gafford, Gallinari's there. Landry Shamit's playing well. DeLon Wright's a solid player. Like, it's not. And then there's a bunch of people you don't know, really. That's like the roster. They don't have a true star.
They play up as like a pickup ball team.
Yeah.
Right.
These are the best guys on the pickup ball court.
Right.
And some days it's just clicking. And then the days it's like, yeah, we just got to hit the showers. I'll text you later and we'll meet you here tomorrow at 10. They have great, amazing role players all on one team.
Right. They need to draft. Kuzma, they need to tank and draft a star. That's what they need.
Kuzma. I know that Danny Avdija, I think that's his last name or whatever. He's tired. He's done with playing with Jordan Poole. There's I've seen a few clips of him, like Jordan Poole putting up a crazy shot, and you just see him open, just like.
And he's good too. I picked him up on one of my fantasy teams, and I can understand why he would be frustrated.
Yeah. Based
on the production that he's putting up. Like,
right.
Jordan Poole can't be your guy. It kind of seems like he needs to be the guy who is kept in line by someone else, and there's nobody to do that on the Wizards right now.
And no one wants to spend their time keeping him in check because he's acting like a spoiled brat. That's what he's doing. He's acting like a spoiled brat. He got his team, and now he's like, it's my way or the highway. And they're like, no.
You haven't earned that yet.
You want to know why your team was such a players team? Because you had great players around you.
Yeah.
You're not a players team anymore. You're on the coaches team.
Right.
You guys aren't good.
Yep.
If you want that players team,
you got to get better.
How long
lot
till we
better.
see Jordan Poole playing overseas or in China? Shay, how long?
I don't know. I mean, okay, so I recently found out that Jordan Poole is a major cat guy. Like he loves cats. And that redeemed everything for me. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But like, so I want him to do better. I'm rooting for you, Jordan. I'm rooting for you. But like, I wouldn't be surprised if he made.
Someone got invited to the pool party.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there are enough organizations in the NBA that don't know what they're doing and would be willing to take a shot on him. That it's going to be a beat before he ends up overseas. I think he has a chance to find a place first. He's got to grow up. He has to mature and figure out the professionalism part of basketball if he's going to have any shot. He's only 24 years old. Like,
I want him to accept a role as like a sixth man at least for now, because that's when you can go on the court and do whatever you want.
Right, but he's on the Wizards right now. He can't come off
the
bench.
I'm just saying for later on in his career, find that team, be that sixth man, because every sixth man, essentially, when they go out there, they have the green light. If they're scorers, like that's what Lou Williams, Jamal Crawford, like you step on the court, you're asking them, score for us. That's all we want. Score. Yep. Jordan Poole, we want you to score. We know you can do that. Everything else we'll figure out, but we need you.
He's not the best defender either to be starting.
No, exactly. He's not. Like, neither was Lou Williams or Jamal Crawford.
Right.
Like, he fits that. He fits a perfect six-man role, but they are so bad that he has to be starting.
Right.
And I feel bad for Tyus Jones as like a Minnesotan guy who's just a genuinely good dude.
Yeah.
And he has to go through all of this.
I feel bad for that roster. Like I said, there's a lot of talent on this roster, and the Wizards as an organization have been aimless for a long time.
Who's their head coach? Wes Unseld Jr. See, he hasn't coached them for a while either. So they have a young coach and a young team with. I don't know much about Wes Unseld Jr.'s coaching style, but just by the looks of the things, I don't think he has too much of a control. But then again, that's what a young team with no direction does. Right. Speaking of young teams that on the cusp of losing direction, LaMelo Ball and the Hornets. LaMelo last night against the Magic jumped up, went for a layup, landed on his ankle, real rough. Had to get carried off the court by his teammates and coaches. It's another ankle injury. He's had a couple ankle injuries. Is this a pattern? Is this going to start to be a pattern, Shay?
I mean, I know so little about this that I'm like.
Last night he sprained ankle. A sprain on a tendon or whatever.
Yahoo says strain.
Strain, okay. Which that's just as dangerous.
I mean, it can go either way, right? It could be a lot less worse, but it could be just as bad.
What ended up being what was originally they thought Cat had a calf 1 strain, it actually was a calf 3 strain, which that left out 57 games. So I recommend LaMelo to get another opinion. Like, hopefully it's just a minor strain or something like that he can get back on. But a strain at that spot is a step closer to an Achilles injury.
Yeah.
So, and this is now showing throughout. Is this a Ball family issue, Jade?
I don't think so, because there's been so many players with serious injuries the last few years. Murray, who's still out again. Klay Thompson's had serious injuries. I just think it's kind of part of the deal. Is there maybe some genetic factors and some the way they practice growing up factors? I'm sure there are. But these guys have access to the best medical treatment on the planet. I think it's just part of the game. I think the season's too long. I think players have to work too hard while their bodies are still developing to be good enough to be in the NBA nowadays. Right. I think there's a lot of factors that aren't necessarily specific to the Balls, but they're just more specific to this is the way the game is now.
I also wonder if it's just something in their like genetic makeup, in the sense where it's like they maybe place pressure on a certain part of their foot when they run, because
Yeah.
as someone who's done a lot of long distance running and stuff, like the way you run can also be potential for just injuries in general. So it could be that something about their genetic something is leaning into or making them more like susceptible to sprains or any of that. But like, yeah, I guess I didn't really, in my head, when I think of a sprain, it's like, oh, it's fine. But I also forget that these are professional athletes that put their body through something so much more than like what we do, even when we're like me running a marathon would be like maybe the equivalent, because it's
Of
like
a game. Of
of
a
a game.
game. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. Because it's like they put so much intensity into their bodies, like with training, their meals, like the games, all of this. And then they're also like so tall. So I just like I think I had to like really grasp what a sprain can mean for a professional athlete with that kind of, and then yeah, like I don't know. I just don't know a lot about that. I don't know about muscles and stuff. Like that's so weird to think about. Anyway.
I'm just someone who's had 6 ankle sprains, 4 on one ankle, 2
Oh
on the
my
other.
gosh.
Yeah, I had that many hooping growing up too. I sprained my
10
ankle all the time.
Sprains never go away. Once you hurt your ankle, it's kind
Really?
of always looming
It's
there.
so
It's not
much
like it doesn't
easier
go
to
away,
do
but
it.
like
Yeah, it's
it
easier
becomes
to do
weaker.
it again. Yeah.
When you say you break a bone comes back stronger. It's the opposite way around.
Yeah.
With a sprain or a strain with it. If it's a muscle or a tendon, that's why I just recommend LaMelo getting a second look.
Yeah.
Just because look at Kawhi, what he did.
And
then
it was always frustrating for me that Kawhi got such a hard time for having a second opinion. Like getting a second opinion for a medical thing is best practice for anyone.
Yeah.
To get a second opinion. But when NBA players get a second opinion, they're like, oh, you don't trust the team. You don't blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, the doctor's salary is paid by the team. I wouldn't trust the team doctors either.
Yeah, it also go back to Grant Hill's history.
I knew you were going to say Grant Hill because that's what I was thinking.
If it wasn't for
Isaiah
the Orlando
Thomas
medical
also
staff lying about his injury, essentially, we might be talking about Grant Hill being a top 10 player of all time.
He was supposed to be I have no doubt Grant Hill would have been a top 10. Like I grew up, I watched Grant Hill's whole career as a Pistons fan. He was a phenomenal basketball player. Oh my gosh.
He was. And even though after all those injuries, even though like once he went to like Phoenix, he did really well in Phoenix.
Yep.
And then he injured his knee in the layup line when he was a Clippers, and that's when he knew he had to retire. There's an interview about it was like a minor injury, but definitely was one of those things like, ooh, yeah, I don't need to do this anymore. I'm in year 18. I should have been done probably 8 years ago after my injuries. Steve Nash prolonged his. Well, hopefully LaMelo can stay healthy with it all because we all like watching him play. We don't want him to go down with it, just like his brother. Hope the balls get good health. But now let's get some laughters in with Shay and her Twitter time.
I'm coming. All right. Oh gosh, I always have to find where the X is. Where is the X? I have too many tabs open all the time. There it is.
It's still called formerly known as Twitter. So
it's formerly
known as Twitter.
It's still called that. All right. I'm just trying to think of where to start. Okay, I meant to share this one last week and I don't think I did. So we're going to start here. So from Esfandiar Barhini, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And I meant to bring this up because this video is literally Coach Pop, good old Popovich, walks over to the microphone in the middle of
the game
and tells the crowd to stop booing at Kawhi. And I thought that this was like such a funny moment, but like I don't know how I feel about it because it's like Fans are gonna boo.
See, I feel great about it. And just from the standpoint of like, can we be better human beings?
True.
Like, can we just collectively, everybody, can we just be better human beings? Like, Kawhi doesn't need you to boo at him to know how you feel when he's in San Antonio.
He knows.
You know, and on top of that, Kawhi didn't do anything to the fans. All he did was take care of his personal health, which was directly tied to his ability to make his income. Like, should you get booed every time you take a sick day off work? Like
it didn't help that they also lost, the Spurs.
Right.
Right.
Spurs lost.
They lost. Because they lost 109 to 102. I listened into I read a part of the press conference, and essentially Popovich was like, "Yeah, I was telling them all to stop poking the bear," and they poked the bear.
Like, did you not learn what happens when you say "F you" to Kawhi Leonard?
Yeah,
right.
You said
Greg
"F you" to
Popovich
Kawhi
knew that
Leonard
right away.
You sent him to Toronto,
let's
and
be
he won a
decent people.
championship.
Like, yes, let's be decent people, but also I know what happens when he gets mad.
Yeah.
He was on my team, and it worked great for me. But I'm not on his team anymore, and I hate it.
It's coming for you. Exactly.
What Timberland said, what goes around comes around.
I just love these moments in general when, like, it's something like out of hand, and
it's so unexpected though. Like him taking the
Popovich. That's a
Popovich
Popovich
is
play.
so unexpected.
But yeah, it is such a Popovich thing. Like, let's be real. Like, if anyone's gonna do it, it's definitely him. And then these two next tweets go together. So the Thunder is out here looking like other people. So first we have from the Daniel Bell, aka at Basketball Guru D, SGA in here looking like Blade, and he really does. Like, yeah, it's a great look. It's an iconic look. It's chef's kiss SGA. But real fast. Oh, I don't want you to see on my other bookmarks. I also had this tweet from Mutual that said, my friend just said Chet Holmgren looks like Abraham Lincoln, and now I can't unsee it. So I love this idea that Blade and Abraham Lincoln are just playing on the
same team.
Smells like a sitcom.
Oh!
It does. It
sounds like one for sure.
What happens when a vampire hunter and the man that ended slavery get together in a flat in New York City?
I think you should write it.
Really?
TBS this summer, baby. They need the Screen Actor Guild, the writer's strike. It's done.
Let's do
Hollywood.
it.
It's your
I'm
boy.
ready. I'm ready to
right
produce.
Here.
All right. This one is kind of like a aw moment. So we have from Lizas, aka at Andrew Lizas. Devin Booker at the Nets game supporting Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson is the wholesome content of the day. Aww.
That is sweet. Very sweet.
I think that those are going to be three guys that are going to be friends for life.
Yeah.
It is like, and it's kind of interesting that you don't see this more throughout the season. It's something I was thinking about because for a while I didn't think that other players were allowed to go to like other games, but like it makes sense that they can go.
But they're busy, right? They all have this 82 game schedule. I just think the timing has to be right. He plays in Phoenix at home. So he needed to be in New York for something or on the road and have the day off. I think it just doesn't always line up well with all the scheduling.
Yeah, because I guess I've seen like LeBron when he's injured at times go to other games or something like that, where if you're out for an injury or, but it's like, I don't know. I'm not the biggest Devin Booker fan.
I love Devin Booker.
He still looks like a 2K created player to me. But
he looks like
that has nothing to do with his playing ability, has nothing to do with his personality. I just think his eyes are a little beady, kind of like a character's eyes from 2K16. I mean, he's got the stats that make a maxed out player. So, like I said, none of that is knocked on anything about the man. Just looks like a created player.
Yeah, well,
he's AI. That's the beginning of it. Devin Booker is the first AI creature
of the NBA.
of in general, because he's been around so long.
Oh, okay.
Science.
And then I know we've been talking so freaking much about these courts, but also let's be real, from Kaylin at Kaylin Ashley, I think this one is the best tournament court so far. And she quote tweeted the Timberwolves. And I like don't hate it.
I don't hate it, but I like the Raptors court the best.
I'm really indifferent to it. Like, it's not as like invasive to the eyes as
Right.
some of the other ones are. This one, it's just light blue and
it's mid
darker
for
light
me.
blue.
It's mid. It's not the worst of the worst, but I don't think it's the best of the best.
I think just because it's in the middle, it makes it at least decent.
Well, yeah, it's true because the middle is so much higher than the bad courts.
Exactly. And it's really with these courts, I haven't seen too many where I'm like, they nailed that one.
Right.
They nailed that one. Like I said, like this one's okay. Doesn't hurt the eyes. The meaning behind it, I get. It makes sense. Some of the other meanings behind the courts for other teams, I'm like, I don't see the connection to this whatsoever for your city or state or team. I don't get it.
There was a meaning behind the courts?
Yeah,
ours has something to do, I think, with the cold and winter and stuff like that.
Oh.
The courts go with their city edition uniforms this year.
I had no idea.
Okay, yeah. Our city editions are and they got the description wrong on one of the reporters on NBA.com, I think it was. The jerseys were meant to represent the 10,000 lakes. That's why it's got like this like shimmering lake vibe up top.
Right.
Nope. Didn't even realize. Nope. He went something about, I don't know. It's something to do with water, but it wasn't about.
He just made some shit up.
Kind of. I was like, you obviously don't know about what's going on. You obviously did. They watched the entire jersey release for that. You would know if it was about water because it was all on Lake Minnetonka, which is one of the biggest lakes in the entire state of Minnesota, and it's where all the rich people live too. Prince had a place on Lake Minnetonka. Like they had their entire jersey release on a yacht on Lake Minnetonka.
For reference, the Raptors is black and gold because it's the 10 years of OVO this season.
Yeah, and you guys have had the black and gold jerseys before. I've always Raptors over like entire franchise. I've always liked their jerseys.
Their marketing is good.
Done a new one,
their marketing's good. Yeah,
they've been either it's been that's okay to yes, except the military ones.
Yeah, I don't love the military.
That one isn't because military. It's just the camo. I didn't like any of the camo jerseys. You couldn't see the players.
The Raptors court is dark gray, medium gray, and gold to go with.
That's good.
The city, right? And it's really freaking fly. It's a lot like the Nets when they had the gray on gray and the low lighting. I love that, and I wish more arenas for basketball would do the theater lighting just on the court and dim the lighting on the seats because it's so much easier to watch on TV.
I don't
do what they do at Madison Square Garden. It's dark in there. It is a dark arena, but that's what makes MSG look that much cooler.
Yeah,
right.
Because it is that kind of lighting to it.
Well, that was it for this week. It was kind of a light, like funny week. Sorry about it, y'all. I like to be funny, not like sentimental, but we went there. So
I mean, we went the Devin Booker route.
I know it was,
but it was sentimental.
That was sentimental.
That's what she's saying. She prefers to be funny. But
oh, gotcha.
We got sentimental this week.
We didn't do sentimental. I was just like, well, what? Seeing friends at a game is not sentimental. I thought that was adorable.
It's so precious.
It was adorable. You're seeing your homies play. You don't have to get in their face and get mad because you're on the same court at the same time.
Exactly. Like, love it.
Time for before we wrap up today. It is the fast break where I come up with 3 questions and Shade and Jade have zero knowledge about. Okay, first question. Indiana and the Hawks had a crazy offensive blowout game. What was the ending score to the game? A, 300 points. B, 238 points. Wait, no, not 200. 283 points. 300 or C 322 points, or D 309 points.
Say them again.
So 300, 283, 340, or 341, and 309.
309.
B. Still.
I think it was 309.
Was that what you said too, Shay?
No, 283, I think.
283. It is 309.
Ah!
Shay,
That's crazy. That's like, I didn't watch that game, but I wish I had.
I watched some of that game. So first quarter, or so quarter-wise, Indiana, they went 34, 39, 46, and 38. Atlanta, for their quarters, it was 40, 46, 28, 38. Indiana by 5.
No defense was played.
The thing is, though, I was watching the game.
Yeah.
There was some at the end of the game, solid contested shots. It was just everything was dropping for both teams.
I watched Indiana play a game this week too where that was a high score, and I remember looking at the box score and being like, no one's playing defense. And then I watched the game and I'm like, oh damn, they really are. Like both teams are really playing both ends. They're just not missing anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so question 3.
2
of these, let me get the players.
Yeah.
4 players who had the best GPA.
Okay. Like in high school?
Or college?
Yes, in high school.
In high school.
I know, I'm like, wait.
Okay.
So LeBron James, Steph Curry, Paul George, or Russell Westbrook.
Russell.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
Yes, Russell with a 3.9.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Steph Curry had a 2.5. Paul George 3.5.
Did you say 2.5?
Right.
Steph Curry.
Yeah. Damn.
Okay.
Ben Simmons. Guess what his is?
You didn't say what?
2.8.
Because there was a list of them that I found. And
Yeah,
that's
this is so random. I love it.
I have no idea what Ben Simmons is.
1.8.
Oh my gosh.
How did he graduate?
Because he's talented.
He's an athlete.
True. I forget about that.
Okay, so
I'm not even mad about that because one of the things I think about all the time is that like not everybody is cut out for the school environment.
And this is the exact same situation at LSU, which caused him to miss his entire freshman year, which then he eventually got drafted. And one of his things was he is smart. It like from going to high school to college and stuff, they're like, he is actually smart. He is just so lazy. He does not care about school. And they thought it was just a school thing. But as we see right now, he's having issues. Okay, last question. Who is the fastest recorded player in NBA history? A, LeBron James. B, Russell Westbrook. C, Devin Harris. Or D, Dwayne Wade.
Ooh.
I want to say Russell again.
I'm going to go with D Wade.
It is Russell at a top speed of recorded speed of. Let me get the right number for it. At 21.6 miles per hour.
And you didn't.
There's only been 3 other.
Wow.
Put that in perspective. Usain Bolt,
my favorite player.
Usain Bolt runs a 27. Max speed has been 27.8 miles per hour. Westbrook's 21.6. Curious what LeBron is at.
Right.
Because just seeing a man that size, I'm curious if he looks faster because of his size, or I'm curious on what he is at.
So I'm just gonna break in because we have an update on LaMelo from Shams just now. Serious sprain. It's no longer an ankle strain. It's a serious sprain. He's expected to miss extended time. He did not fracture the ankle, which is the same one he had to have surgery on last season. So there's something. But yeah, he's going to be out for a hot minute. And that means my fantasy team is pretty much effed because I already had Jamal Murray out on that team too. So
I don't think you want me to send you the picture message on how LaMelo had been before this injury.
Oh, I know how he's been. I know exactly how he's been.
They put up the list, and like they had put that numbers list right before his game. They're like, this guy, he's kicking it now. He's kicking it.
This hurt. Wow, like this fantasy team is pretty much screwed until like that's both my starting point guards, both of them.
And I don't even think he got fouled.
He just came down wrong.
I think he got blocked too. That was the thing. I was just like, oh, insult to injury. You get blocked out of bounds and you're injured. Oh man. Man.
That hurts. That hurts my heart.
Okay. Well, you guys actually had a pretty solid. You guys both had 2 correct, 1 wrong. So that's not too bad this week. I thought I was going to get all 3 for you guys.
I'll take it.
I guess not. That's a shame. But okay, on that note, we've done a lot today. We've done a healthy episode from Grizz. Are we going to see them change later on? Clippers, when are they going to blow up? Warriors, put up or shut up, as I would say. Jade has another view, but we don't have to worry about that right now. Orlando shining bright with Magic, Wizards, zero direction, and LaMelo, as we just said, get well soon. But all right, on that note, I think it's time for us to end up today, and let's get to that.
Bye.